How you doing, folks? This is Ron from Ron's Beers. I got a beer to showcase today, coming out of San Leandro, California. Before I mention the beer right away, I want to say San Leandro, I don't know if that's part of San Francisco, because I always thought this brewery, which is the 21st Amendment Brewery, was in San Francisco. When on the webpage I'm getting, or on the can, I'm getting San Leandro. So, any comments you folks might have about it, let me know. But anyways, this is a 21st Amendment Brewery in California. This is a very interesting can. This beer is called Fireside Chat. It's a winter spiced ale. It's just, like I say, 7.8% alcohol by volume. And you got 45 international bitter units. They're a little higher than what I'm used to. Now, that's my taste buds. Guys and gals out there like it a lot more higher on the IBUs or on the alcohol. But I'm so used to the 5 up to 6% alcohol by volume, and probably down to the 12 to 20 at the most international bitter units. So everybody has different taste buds, and that's why there's so many craft beers on the market, which is fantastic. I think it's something like 5,300 breweries, and all majority craft breweries, which is real nice. They're putting out some real nice stuff, different stuff that we're not used to having as far as a beer, and they're really nice. But anyways, what you're seeing here, when they say Fireside Chat, there's a real big story behind that, a big historical story. The gentleman you see sitting there was 32nd president. That's FDR, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, basically called FDR. Was, like I say, 32nd president. He was born in 1882, died in office in 1945. That was April 1945. He was 63 years of age. And this is the gentleman. He's got a big history behind him. He was very outspoken on the radio. He wasn't too friendly with the newspapers at the time. Newspapers and radio were the big media as far as news and sports and in general of dealing with the public. He didn't get along too well with the newspapers. Kind of like, I guess, our president today, President Donald Trump, the newspapers. And that was kind of with Franklin Delano Roosevelt. The newspapers somehow didn't like his views or what he wanted to do with the country, which was a lot of good things he did for the country, FDR. And so what he did was he went to the radio and he addressed the people himself. He talked, and a lot of the things he talked about were kind of shake you up, get you up out of your doldrums. Remember, he went through the Depression. He was a Depression president, and the country was really bad from 1920 to 1933. It was all those years that they had the Depression. It was really bad for the country, and he went through that. And there was a time when it looked like the country wouldn't come out of it. But like I say, back to what he was talking about, he would get on the radio, address the people, and pull up your pants and get going. I try to put a happy face on times that were bad. He was another thing about it. He won 4 times the presidential job there, and he still was quite the president in the history books as far as you know about him. Not too many people do. He built the New Deal, a domestic agenda, basically kind of helping the people from the Depression. He contracted polio in 1921. Kind of didn't stop him, though. I think it kind of made him a man with a heart, more so because of that and what he did for the country. He did a lot. If you go on his webpage, it'll take too long to say all the things he did. But in this can, let's get back to the beer. In this can, you can see he's got a fireside chat. Like I say, this here depicts him talking to an elf. So this beer comes out from October to December. So it's somewhat of a Christmas beer. And there's an elf sitting there. Now what he did was he had a radio show. So he wouldn't be sitting in this thing, but the people would be sitting like this, and their radio would be right there. The family would sit around and listen to him talk. And this is what this whole thing is as far as the press thing is. He had a radio hour, like I say, back when he was addressing the people. And again, I don't keep beating this, but he kind of really motivated the people in his speech. And so basically this beer is kind of what they're saying about him in his way of life and his way of thinking. Okay, let's talk about the brewery. This brewery for this, the 21st, which I like that name, 21st Amendment, which, well, we know, stopped Prohibition, 1933. In 2000, Nico Freccia and Sean O'Sullivan, hope I get the names right, I'm saying them right, founded the 21st Amendment Brewery in, I thought, San Francisco, South Park neighborhood. Another thing is that in the year 1900, in San Francisco, there were 40 breweries. I don't mean to jump in these stories, but I just want to say, in San Francisco, there were 40 breweries operating. I had read this a bit yesterday or the day before. 40 breweries operating just within San Francisco city limits. Now, there's only 8 breweries in San Francisco. 8. And there were 40 at one time. And yet, the population has more than doubled from 1900. And they're down from 40 to 8. But these two gentlemen, Nico and Sean, their views for a name for their brewery, the 21st Amendment. I guess the Prohibition, which started in 1920, really got them thinking about it. I mean, that was a 13-year episode in our country where we couldn't have any alcohol. And so basically what they did was when Prohibition ended from the 21st Amendment in 1933, which you'll see on a lot of beer labels and so forth, the number 33 or 1933, you see it a lot of times. It's because of the end of Prohibition in 1933. Back to this about the Prohibition, you got to remember now, a lot of taverns and bars made a place for the local folks to talk about everything under the sun. Politics, religion, sports, anything that was going on back in those days at the bars and taverns before 1920 when they threw in Prohibition. The government decided nobody could drink alcohol. But what happened was when they did that, everybody, we're talking about everybody, couldn't buy alcohol. And basically what Prohibition did, this spawned speakeasies. And everybody that went to these speakeasies basically were breaking the law. They made everybody an outlaw for going to the speakeasies. And all they want to do is have some social time with some friends and unwind with a couple of alcohol drinks or beer or whatever that was at the speakeasy that they had. But what the law did made a lot of people be outlaws during that time. So their views on that was the 21st Amendment dealing with beer was a good thing. So the brewery name became 21st Amendment. And this is part of the reason of one of these. I mean, all these aren't political. Like this, they have a lot of different cans on there. I mean, this is really subtle in a way. It's just showing you the kind of president we had back then. But, okay, with no further ado, I've been talking a lot here. And I know I always ask the crowd there, should I stop talking? Is it time for me to stop talking? No, what do you think? Yeah? I should. All right. All right. Ron will stop talking. Thank you for their vote on that. Get us a glass. All right, we got the glass here. It's clean. It's clean. All right. I don't know if it's a moment this has come across. We just had a little problem with the lights, but that's another story. All right. Anyways, let's get this can. We'll clean it off. They do get washed, as I say. All right. And but they're lined up for which beer reviews are going to happen. So, put my big fat hand out of the way there. Okay. All right. We got the glass. Oh, darker than I thought. Now the spices in this beer, it's got added spices, as it said on the can. Wow. It's a little bit darker than I thought. Wow. Winter spiced ale. First Amendment. Ale with spices added. It really doesn't say what the spices are in this, but they do have cocoa and cocoa nibs. That's what it is. They have cocoa nibs in this. Spices and cocoa nibs is what's in this. And this is a 7.8 ABV beer. And that's cocoa and nibs. They really don't go into telling you what kind of hops. They do use an ale yeast. And actually, I do have the info. Now that I'm thinking about that, I do have the hops that are in this. Actually, are Magnum and Goldings. And Goldings being kind of I don't know, low on the alpha scale. I think that's what I'm coming up with. Yeah, they are. Alpha is like the 4 to 6% alpha acids on it. It's a finishing hop, and it's kind of gives you a sweet floral. And so again, the hops in that are Magnum and Goldings, and the malts in this are pale, Munich, wheat, crystal malt, aromatic malt, chocolate malt, and debitted black. That's a lot of malts in this, and that's why we're getting this. As you can see, it is kind of a dark color. So let us take a closer look. I want to see this can as far as I think I'm seeing 7.8 ABV. It's 7.9 ABV. Let's get the drone up. Again, it's a 7.9 ABV with 45 international bitter units. It looks creamy. Actually, the head is a creamy head on it. Amber, because not a big head on it by any means. Really can't see through it. I mean, it doesn't come across as a dark beer, but I guess you can see through it a little bit with the light going through it. You can see a little bit. Now let's get some aroma to this and see what it smells like. Oh, it comes across as a lager. That floral isn't really that strong, but you can pick up on it. It's not a strong malty foot, I should say. It's so blended, but it comes across like those lagers. Like your first thing you see, it's a beer aroma. And like my wife always says, oh, that's a beer smell. Get that beer, you get that beer, and that's what I'm getting. But definitely, it's got a. That's definitely the sweetness. What I'm thinking is the malts, is that floral from the hops. And I might have the yeast in this too is given an ale yeast. So, with no further ado, let's give it a try. Salute. That's good. Sorry for my gulping, but that is a good beer. That tastes really good. Get the drone up. That is a good beer. Well, I have to admit, this is a good ale. With spices and all, I know sometimes they put spices in. People will say, well, you know, they put 3 or 4 spices in. I like 3 of them, but 1 of them I don't like. So a lot of guys don't like the cinnamon in beer. I don't particularly care for cinnamon in beer. And this one is good. I don't know what spices other than the chocolate nibs. It's good. I can sit here and drink this to the end. It's drinkable, very drinkable. And it's really good. Really good. Alright, so Ron's gonna end this. So with that said, opportunity to pick this up. I don't think you can now because it's January now. And this was in October to December. So my wife picks them all up. And we have, I'm backlogged on actually posting a lot of my beer reviews and actually doing the beer reviews. I got a bunch of them in the refrigerator. and I'm going to have to catch up. So, with that said, you get an opportunity for 21st Amendment, Fireside Chat, to get that, or any of their other beers, because this is well made. I have to admit, this is a well-made beer, or ale. It's a well-made ale. And I imagine all their others are too. And they have quite a web page. They have a restaurant also at their brewery, I want to say. So opportunity to go there. Go to their brewery. With that said, so we're going to end it here. We got a cold day here, but it's really nice as far as the temperature. I mean, it's not cold. We're around 48 degrees, so we can do a lot of stuff outside today, particularly in the northeast of New England. If you're going to drink, folks, be responsible. Don't drive. Have a good day, folks. Ciao.